You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Gene.
From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AfterBuzz TV's Legends House After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's Legends House After Show.
About the ship. We just started with that, Hobo. Well done. Well done. Well, it's a reunion, so anything goes, apparently.
We're talking about a recent injury with
in WWE.
Anyway,
welcome to Legends House AfterBuzz, everybody. I'm Christian Rosenberg.
Wade Barrett has been injured. That's what we're
trying to steer this now sunken ship. Joining me is Mr. Mark Donica.
Yeah, I'm here, I guess.
And on his final AfterBuzz appearance, the Hobo.
No, this one. Trust me, I'll drop bigger bombs than this.
And
but
Piper has dropped bigger bombs than that.
And to sort of outdo myself, my last one was in like maybe a minute of the show. The last time I dropped a bomb like that.
Yeah,
this one was
right at the start.
Like 2 seconds.
Less.
A bushwhacker dropping bombs.
Less than that. Well, we're talking about episode 10 of Legends House, the reunion titled "The Boys Are Back." ... again. And I was really hoping this would be a little different than your basic reunion show, and
I've never seen a reunion show. I'm not.
Never watched Road Rules, The Real World? Or
no, I never did.
Total Divas?
I was never a reality guy. No, sir, not a reality guy. So I wasn't sure what to expect. But I wasn't happy with what I got.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was kind of what I was hoping we wouldn't get. Just them all kind of talking and just going over, different parts of the show. We didn't get any like bonus footage. One thing I did want to mention.
I think we got a little bonus footage in the packages. There was hidden bonus footage.
Was there? Oh,
I think there was.
Maybe in the hijinks.
One thing I found really interesting was at the reunion and throughout the entire reunion special, there was zero mention of Ashley.
No, yeah, that was weird. I thought they might bring her out for like one more picture or something. I guess she fulfilled her contractual obligations.
I think that's exactly what it's been. From what I've been told, because I've been trying to talk with people about possibility of different guests. Of course, it's a little difficult for us being on the West Coast, where most of these guys live on the East Coast. Ashley was refusing to do any interviews about this show.
Oh, good. I'm glad we're
interesting.
I'm glad you broached the subject. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I think this is bull.
Okay.
I'm angry about it.
Angry about Ashley?
Yeah. I mean, if you do something, this is a gateway. I think she's taking something, an opportunity to open herself up to a whole new set of fan base. She wants to promote her music, right? Right.
Yeah.
Well, she's missing the bus. She's gotta get on the promotion tour. Everybody else is doing promotions more or less. If she wants to get anywhere, she's got to take the opportunity. She's in the public eye. Hop on board. Do your work.
Legends House being consistently one of the top shows on the WWE Network, which is hundreds of thousands of people.
Young
people in part, probably the audience you're looking for. A completely different type of audience, but still that same age range. It's kind of silly to not take advantage of that.
Yeah, I mean, well, again, from what I was informed, she's focusing on recording an album right now overseas, which is all fine and good, and I hope the album does well and all that. But it's a matter of, you were an integral part of this show. You could, you could say some hilarious stories about that. I'm sure
most things.
Yes.
So yeah, I was actually really surprised. Even on the reunion, there was absolutely nothing about her.
There wasn't even an Ashley package, which I figured would be.
Well, Mean Gene, package of Gene with the women.
That was the hijinks package.
Yeah.
It was mostly Mean Gene one-liners.
So Jerry the King Lawler hosts the reunion, which yes, 100% absolute legend, the host of Legends House. I get that. But to see Jerry trying to like host a talk show reality reunion thing, it didn't feel like the right niche for him.
It also didn't come off very natural. It didn't seem like this was a part of his regular description. It was like, package, ask this question, package, ask this question, package. It didn't seem too natural for him to be there.
Any of you notice he was wearing an earpiece?
Oh, did you? I didn't even see that.
Yep.
I didn't notice.
He was wearing an earpiece. I don't know why.
For a taped program?
Quality control, maybe, in case they went a little bit too off the rail, like try interjecting.
It's normal for them to have an earpiece.
Even when it's not live?
Correct.
Oh, interesting.
I don't know. That's okay. Thanks, Phil.
Yeah, Phil would know that better than us.
Yeah.
So.
I'm just a hobo.
You've only seen an earpiece that was like all beat up in the garbage.
Actually, I was thinking to myself, is he his referee? Is there a match going on right now? Is he going to just get down and start counting?
They were in a ring. They were in Florida.
They were at the Performance Center.
They were in 75% of a ring.
Yeah, the
I don't know how they did that with the ropes. I just kept looking at it going, did you cut it? No, you can't. I mean, the ropes. You don't know how this works.
Sure.
The ropes, they're all in a circle. They're all connected. They have to be tied together. I don't think you can disconnect them without cutting it, but you didn't see any extra rope hanging down. I don't know. It was weird.
I was a little confused when I first saw that as well.
Yeah.
So Jerry brings out all the legends, but conspicuous by his absence is one Tony Atlas, who Jerry informs us Tony will be out in a minute. And everyone's like, oh, okay. And then we just see Tony sitting backstage watching. Why?
To stir up drama.
To stir the pot. It was the amount of anti-Tony sentiment that seemed to be quote-unquote natural from this special was kind of abhorrent. I did not like how anti-Tony it was, because like I mentioned in shows before, there was a point in the series where Tony turned a corner and started kind of playing off of everybody's sort of... He started acknowledging that everybody was finding him a little bit annoying, but at the same time, everybody turned a corner with him as he turned a corner with them, and they found this sort of synergy. But they never mentioned that sort of change that happened, where like Jimmy kind of came in as the new annoying guy, where everybody started really living with, this is who this guy is, and I'm starting to be okay with it. But with this, it's like all of the emotional progress that everybody had made was just thrown out the window. It was a cheap reality show trick, I think.
And that's why I liked the finale that we had last week, because it was final and it was positive. It ended on a positive note. And this just, I mean, it's, what are we, 2 years later now?
Well, I don't know how late this was.
I think
this was
late
filmed. 2013. This was?
I'm pretty sure it was late 2013.
The actual show was filmed about almost 2 years ago. Yeah.
Right. Well, we ended on such a good note. Now we're just rehashing the BS. I just don't understand it. I like the positivity, but they're trying to get the ratings through all of the BS drama and controversy. I'm not a fan.
I mean, I get, they want, like the drama and chaos equals ratings, and that's typical in reality shows across the board. But when you had the show, now it's one thing if the show ended with Tony and Hacksaw like at each other's throats, and one of them left and they were still pissed. You bring it on, okay, because now I want to see, has anything transpired between now and then. Here, when everyone was what appeared to be at peace with each other, and then they just kind of set it up perfectly. It was like, okay, we're going to keep Tony away, so make fun of him right now.
That's what it's
Oh, surprise, he can hear you.
He heard everything. Ooh.
And it wasn't just like they were asking the way that the episode was cut. I would like to see a full cut of the episode, because they didn't get a chance to let everybody speak or show everybody speaking about a certain subject. And the way that they were phrasing questions was asking for trouble. It wasn't just like, so what do you guys think about Tony? It's just like, Tony's annoying, right? Like it wasn't. There was no. If you phrase a question negatively, people are going to answer negatively. And it really caught my eye, because with Piper, he talked about a certain moment that wasn't like Tony farting in the car. Like, that wasn't necessarily like something that Tony could have really. It seemed like just a story that they put into the anti-Tony section of the show, as opposed to just like. I would have liked to just see, hey, what was a positive memory from the show? Like the way that they ended the show at the dinner was, what's a high moment of the of your whole life, your whole career? Why not do that for the show? And it seemed way too like Hobo said, they're just trying to stir the pot and make some drama. That's part of the reason why we're doing the show, is because the promo for the reunion special looked like something was going to go down.
We weren't even originally thinking of doing the reunion special. Then we saw the promo for it, and we're just like, all right, we're going to have to do it.
Felt obligated.
Yeah,
that's just how it is.
And then we figured out why. It was because of this.
Yeah, and
right.
Not a fan of how they phrased everything. So I'd really like to see a full cut of this special.
I don't know. I did like how Piper said, though, if Tony was farting in his car back in the old days and they were traveling from town to town, he'd kick his ass out.
That's why I like Piper's story, because it seemed more just like a natural thing, whereas everything else was sort of like, tell me something annoying about Tony Atlas, as opposed to like, hey, Tony's great. Here are the couple of things that we didn't like about him. Like,
I think the whole thing about Tony getting blamed for the chitlins and the pig's feet is BS, because Hillbilly was right
part
there.
of Hillbilly too.
They were right there. It was both of them together in this, and now Hillbilly's like, well, you know, I'm sure he said, man, it was me too.
Right, but they edited that out.
Right.
That's the thing, is because like Hillbilly didn't talk a lot. They when they directly asked him stuff, he would say, but if in like the cuts where multiple people will be telling stories, they wouldn't get Hillbilly, because I'm sure he would say something positive that would kind of break the whole sort of theme of the segment that they were trying to build.
I'm sure if they asked Hillbilly, tell me something annoying about Tony, he talks a lot. Okay, next.
But then again, I do too, you know? Don't we all, really?
Don't we all get annoyed at times?
Seriously.
Damn it, Hillbilly.
Hillbilly wants some drama. Well, I don't believe in drama. I'm more of a comedy guy.
Right. I do yoga.
That mask scares me.
One thing, Finkel was wearing a suit.
Not a tux.
Not a tux.
Not a tux. Hey, dress down.
Didn't he look like he's lost a little weight since the show?
Or his goatee was bigger.
Well, his goatee was larger.
Sure.
Yeah.
The gut did look a little smaller.
Maybe he kept up the progress. Good for him.
Well, I think he might have kept the progress. Or maybe he went out and bought Maria Menounos' Every Girl's Got to Diet and Fitness.
Right into that trap.
You like that, didn't you?
That was good.
You fell right into
real
it.
Slick.
Yeah. This is a New York Times bestseller, everybody. And it's available in bookstores everywhere. Great tips on how you could lose weight with your diet and exercise. Also some great exercise tips, as we were saying. Recipes. Stories in here with Bob Backlund, Stacy Keibler.
Yeah.
The list goes on and on. Buy this book, man or woman.
Fell into
or woman or man, I should say.
On Swiss Family Robinson.
Yep.
That's amazing.
Yes, I manipulated you.
That was an awesome segue.
So size of your brain across that table. Gotta marvel at it.
We got to look at the ups and downs of Piper. So it's just like a little vignette of highlights of Piper. Now, why didn't we have this for every individual? We only had it for Piper.
No, we had it for Piper and Duggan, Tony.
Tony and Duggan.
And then Tony and Duggan, and then Hijinks, and then another one.
Right, but as far as like just like the individual story for each one,
I would have really liked.
It was really only Piper
for everybody.
Yeah.
Piper was the main focus of this show. If you noticed, all the cuts were to him. The majority of the focus was on him as being like the anchor of the show.
Because he's the only one who's not afraid to speak whatever's on his mind.
Arguably the biggest star of the bunch.
True.
Right. I mean, everybody sort of went to him and revered him. Mm-hmm. I mean, even if you don't think that he was the biggest guy in the house, everybody treated him like he really was. So that to me says that he is something special. Whether you realize it or not, maybe he had more clout behind the scenes than we truly realize, and he had more pull and all that. So this whole thing really to me said that he was the biggest star. Mm-hmm. So, and I mean, whether or not you agree with it, it's how they treated him.
Well, I mean, he was, you know, if you're looking at, you know, the mainstream wrestling, he was definitely the biggest name. Arguably second place in that house would have been Gene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, I mean, Hillbilly was dead last as far as the notoriety.
He's not even in the Hall of Fame. I didn't even know that.
He deserves a spot.
Oh, come on now.
Well, I think now with this new attention, you could expect maybe him in, if not next year, maybe the year after.
Yeah.
I loved him though. He was great.
He was great.
Such an awesome guy.
Yeah.
Just let him do his
Not
thing.
just as a guy, but as a wrestler too. Like,
Yeah.
The whole thing, especially coming whole circle and finishing up this show.
What was I was doing some research on him and found out that he broke his leg like into his push. Like they were going with Hillbilly all the way, broke his leg ringside.
Yeah,
the whole thing.
That was his.
And that's when the Hillbilly family got introduced to sort of supplement that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was his big problem. Unfortunately, Hillbilly was a little bit of an injury-prone guy through the height of his career, and that's probably part of the argument as why he wasn't in the Hall of Fame. He never really won any titles.
But I would always remember Hillbilly.
I remember him too.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a lot of
He's
a lot of folks
giant of a man for one.
Still, the giant of the
stature
house.
and in spirit, really. So, but a lot of people back then are folks that you remember. Even, I mean, did Coco Beware have any big titles?
Well, if Kevin Hart calls him out on the Daily Show, I think he's worthy of being in the Hall of Fame or even the Legends House season 2.
That'd be interesting. He brings the bird with him.
Why not? That was got some drama.
We're going to talk about who we think should be in the Legends House season 2 at the end of the show.
Yeah.
Then we kind of have this look at Tony. This was in a process of when he kind of came onto the set.
He took all that he could.
Oh my God! Hacksaw started out saying he's a pain in the ass. Piper said he's a pain in the ass. Tony, when he came on, he was rambling on, and he mentioned he's like Jimmy over here. He never talked to me in any dressing room that we were in all the years we traveled together. And Jimmy immediately was like, "That's because my guys were fighting you."
And honestly, that's legit.
That's legit.
Of all the excuses, that's the only one that makes any sense.
That's another thing. We didn't hear a lot from Jimmy Hart throughout this show. He was there. He when we were talking about the Last Supper, we reheard about his daughter, unfortunately, but he didn't really talk too much during the special.
No.
Or at least that we
He didn't have the megaphone.
And he's a guy that you have to shut up with force. So you could tell editing was a big part of this thing.
I loved Jerry's question of Tony. Anything about you that would really piss these guys off? Living.
I could crawl in a hole and die, and these guys would be happy about it.
Well, that sounds like a positive person right there.
Although, I mean, after being surrounded by all that negativity, it's hard to just be like, well, I don't know. Like,
Hillbilly does it.
Yeah, that's true. That's fair.
He's different, though. He's like Teflon, psychic Teflon. Nothing sticks to Hillbilly Jim. It's amazing. Although I have to say, Piper's line about Tony was brilliant. He's got a laugh and a press slam. Two notes, and he wrote a symphony. That is both an incredible compliment and an incredible insult.
Yeah.
He's saying that these are the only two things you have, but with these two things, you've been able to write a fantastic career. I think that's really saying that, not recognizing that Tony is more than that, but at the same time that Tony can really do some amazing things inside that ring, which he can.
He's versatile with what little he uses.
Right.
Which you can see in Card Subject to Change, right? No.
It's True Life.
Yeah, True Life.
Yes,
I rewatched that recently, and that was just unfortunate.
Yeah, and you got to think about it. Remember, that was, I don't know, maybe
Early
within 10
2000s?
years, maybe 98, 99, maybe 2000.
Something. That's when
It was around like 10 years after the story of his wife finding them on the street.
Yeah.
And that's where he was then.
And then they brought him back, and he was in ECW, and now he's doing Legends House.
The story they go back to about how he ended up on the streets, I think, is fairly interesting. It was later in the show, but it was pretty interesting. He says himself that he had burned all his bridges in the wrestling community.
Yeah.
And that ended him up on the street. To me, that says that he's a guy who naturally doesn't get along with people.
At the same time, going along with what happened on that MTV True Life special, where he, like, the show got canceled, but all the guys showed up and he tried to put the show on anyway, it might be a little bit more of like his heart is too big for like actually thinking through some stuff, and he just wants to make sure everybody's okay despite not having like the proper licenses or anything, and people really getting screwed over.
That depends on the state licenses. I mean, California's not a big deal, but up in Oregon, Washington, you need licenses to put on a wrestling show. But it shows that Tony can't get along with people. That he has at least difficulty. Getting along with people, and that has ended up hurting him in some way or another. But I guess everything for a reason, right? Through that, he ended up meeting his wife, who saved his life. He's been married to this day. Good things happen.
Yeah, that's true. So we go from this, hostility, and Jerry Lawler just kind of standing there like, hey. All right, let's look at some lighter sides.
Oh, Jerry.
I guess as soon as there was a slow spot, he would go
trying to. So then we looked at the lighter comical moments of the season.
I think Gene would have been a better host than Jerry. Somebody who was actually in there and could actually properly weave in stuff from experiences that were not shown on screen. Like no disrespect to Jerry,
or Ashley,
or Ashley.
Naturally, Ashley.
or even like Rhett and Link, or any of the guests that they had on, or Sheiky, if they brought Sheiky back.
I don't know if he would have been a better host.
Sheiky for host. I'm for that.
God.
You need
Sheiky
nothing but
the next Ashley.
That show would have lasted 8 hours.
You need a crawl. Nobody can understand what he's saying. Everything's got to have subtitles.
It'd have like the little bouncy ball on it.
Oh, jeez.
As if you could follow along at home. Nobody can follow that.
Looked at the lighter, the comical moments. I think this is where we also got the recap again of the game show, and the Chippendales with them stripping and the manscaping.
Bunch of Gene one-liners.
About
the Okerlund.
The tennis instructors.
I love mixed doubles.
The cougar.
the old lady massaging him.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Do you have any children?
That reciprocate?
Oh my God. I love Gene so much.
Gene has a line for everything.
True story. I am not making this up. Earlier today, I got a message from my agent who wanted to try to submit me for to try out for this spot that needed someone to be like someone who has experience as a referee or announcer and wrestling for this little comedy thing. I'm like, all right. So I kind of gave him he wanted a quick little bio for me to send. So I sent it to him this morning, and this afternoon I asked him, hey, is there any update on it? He told me, well, they're holding off on looking at people because I guess they're trying to reach Gene. Or I'm like, well, I'm not gonna win that.
Christian.
That now is creepy.
Yeah.
I think it's creepy no matter what. I think Joey Ryan and Candice LeRae had an interview with him. I don't know how that went. That was
with Okerlund?
Yeah, with Okerlund.
I never went back and looked for Joey Ryan in the show.
Yeah, I guess they did an interview with him. Unfortunately, I have yet to look at it. But
for their Candice and Joey show, I just plugged their show.
Candice and Joey, hey, take a look on your YouTube.
Oh, they better love me for that.
It just happened to be in the show.
Thank you.
Oh, took you a second.
I got it.
Oh God, there's something in your hair. That's ugh.
It's probably bugs.
Probably
bugs. He hangs out by the trash all day.
Something moving on my hand.
My hair lives.
I would wipe it on your sleeve, but it's probably worse.
Maybe. And turn it out white.
We got Piper and Hacksaw's romantic comedy relationship.
I'd see that movie.
In this day and age, that's just
Why
natural.
Not? That'd probably get about 3 seasons. Maybe get canceled in the middle of season 4. I would see that, though.
But then a big hit on Netflix.
Or the WWE Network, which is Netflix, but better.
Ah, that's right.
Sure.
Tony mentions that they both mentally must have something in common for them to be so attached.
Of a feather flock together. I mean, it's not far-fetched. I said flock.
Okay.
Yeah. Flock.
Let's check it.
Flock.
Okay. The second time.
Flock you all.
The second time I was like, what did you say? We already got it out at literally the top of the show.
Like Angels in the Outfield.
And then we get the little vignette of the tension that mounted between Atlas and Duggan, and we find out a little more of the story of Backstage at the Chippendales.
I was sided with Tony on this one, really.
Seriously, I'm with Hack.
Like, I understand if you're standing around talking to somebody, but if you're in front of like a table that has stuff on it, just move.
Here's the thing, though. I mean, Tony keeps talking about beer. They put beers on the table. They both got mixed drinks in their hand. In the footage.
But knowing Tony, he calls Roddy Piper Rodney. So like your brain goes looking for alcoholic beverages, you find beer. That could be like a dyslexia thing.
Here's my thought. If there's a beer or a drink or whatever may be on that table, and Hacksaw's blocking it, can't you walk and be like, excuse me, Hacksaw, mind if I just grab one of those?
After a long day of like uncomfortableness,
especially I'm with Hack. What Tony said, I'd walk through you before I walked around you.
Instead of just banging into him and be like, excuse me, you mind if I just grab it? Hacksaw would have stepped away for a second or handed him one. End of story.
No, I agree. There definitely was a more amicable way for both parties, but I probably would have added just like a yo Hack, watch out, and then gone through. But it's
yo Hack,
yeah,
watch out.
Yo Hack.
He called him Hack.
Everybody's calling him Hack.
Yeah.
If you not noticed.
Well, I'm more respectful than that.
Well, no, because there's Jimmy.
I call him Mr. Duggan.
There's
they're friggin' co-workers. You don't call your co-workers, Mister.
It's Jimmy Hart, Hillbilly Jim Duggan. So you gotta go Hack, Hillbilly, and Jimmy. That's what I would do.
Yeah,
but,
that's how I take notes.
Yeah. Either way, like Tony was just like, let's just let the footage speak for it, which makes him look like a jerk. So either way, Tony's okay with how everything turned out.
Although Tony, Hack took some of the blame in this whole thing. He said we were acting like children. Both of us were acting like third graders out on the playground. Well, why don't you make something happen? Come on, why don't you just do it? Yeah. So I mean, nobody's without blame in this situation. Everybody, obviously, both of them, they butted heads to begin with, but somebody poked somebody, something happened. It just happened.
I mean, Hacksaw came into the house saying, and we saw that recap of there are a couple of people that I'm probably not going to get along with. So including Tony. So he came in with that sort of like raised expectation of expecting like some sort of opposition. So that automatically that kind of makes you prone to any possible negative thing that might come from the other person.
It's true. If you go in expecting trouble, you will meet trouble.
Yeah.
If you go in expecting nothing, maybe you'll meet nothing.
Go in with an open mind, and you might get something different than what you were expecting.
Well, the Hillbilly Jim method.
I was just gonna say that's exactly what Hillbilly did.
Yep.
He should write a book.
He really ought to.
Should just be a motivational speaker.
Yeah, that would work.
Why not? He's tall enough.
He could make a yoga video for WWE Network.
Oh.
Well, sure. Yeah. Him and DDP.
I was going to say, he can be in it with DDP.
That would be amazing.
When did DDP get pissed?
Could you imagine the spike in WWE Network subscribers if they put DDP yoga on as a program?
Shit.
Well, there it is again.
I already said it once. How can I make it worse? That's actually a really good idea. You put it on like once a day, and it's like 10-minute things.
10-minute clips, or you can watch them on demand.
That's actually a really good idea.
It depends how much money they offer DDP.
Exactly.
Right.
Because DDP is going to make it. We're getting off topic, but I'm saying like.
Screw off topic. The season's over. Who cares?
You're talking about Bad News Barrett.
Our systems detect that a host is off the subject.
Guys!
Please return at once.
To be fair,
our systems detect that a host is.
To be fair, while diverting it, I tried bringing it back.
Well,
so I kind of canceled it out.
Thank you.
Our systems detect that a host has wandered off the subject.
Thank you.
All right. I'm going to speak now.
Please.
Oh, good.
Let's talk about and then we get into the section of the show where we go over their revelations. Mm-hmm. And, we're going to go over all this too, now all the serious stuff again. We just kind of get a recap of what everyone's serious moments were. And I did find it interesting to know that Piper admitted, he's like, I didn't go up to bat like everyone else. And the fact that everyone came out with these secrets, in essence, was to make Pat feel more comfortable to reveal his.
I like how he put that.
Yeah.
I really do. It really brought brought everybody together a little bit more, like from a backstage way, because it seemed like a lot of people knew about Pat without him like coming out publicly and saying it.
Well,
If we know.
knew.
Yeah, and no, I know. We all
we've never
knew.
personally met the guy.
Essentially, everybody knew. But to give him, despite having technically everybody know and having that space for him to feel comfortable, just shows how much respect they all have for him, which is awesome.
And I kept saying how Piper was so closed off during the show. You know, I never necessarily got that, but the fact that he didn't share at the table really does sort of hammer that home. Even in this space where everybody's sharing, you know, everybody's digging down deep and exposing their most vulnerable moments, Piper doesn't. And yeah, maybe he is closed off. I think honestly he's got a lot to be closed off about. So, I mean, it just makes sense to me, me who I'm kind of a closed off guy myself. It just makes sense. So,
well, it's just usually, you know, you on that street corner in your cardboard.
Corner or alleyway.
Or alley, yeah. Well, I mean, depends on the time of year.
don't trust anyone. Yep, and I'm sure Piper grew up the same way. Don't trust anybody.
Yeah.
That'll all hurt you. Somehow, some way, they'll find a weakness. And it's hard to break that programming. I think Piper really did it. He really did a lot for what he was capable of doing. It's hard to do. Yep.
No, definitely. And, you know, everyone's kind of recapping the high spot that they shared. And again, when it's Jimmy, this time now, Lawler starts crying with what Jimmy was saying and everything. Like, it was, again, all of a sudden we went from everyone yelling at each other to everyone crying and hugging each other.
To reverence. It was really nice. It's still really, I mean, obviously it's unfortunate what happened to Jimmy and his family, but it's those moments that brought everybody together, and it kind of made up for some of the stuff that happened during the show, but it wasn't as nice of an ending as Hobo was saying as the actual last episode was.
Because it was too short. Again, they start off in one episode. They literally go from heat to trying to wrap everything up. Where in reality, this show took several episodes to finally reach its conclusion and everybody coming together. Yeah. So again, you're trying to separate everybody and then trying to bring them back together in the same shoot. And it doesn't feel as natural.
From 9 episodes to 1.
Right. It's easier to divide people than to bring them back together. But I guess if you're, conjuring the image of something that brought you all together before, it's easier to sort of fall back into the pattern of being together. At least I hope. So
yeah.
And then that leads to Jerry asking everyone one final question: if you were to do it all over again, would you? And oddly enough, the only one who said they would not do it was Gene.
I liked his reasoning, though. He said everything happened the way it was supposed to happen. Let it lie. Let's just all go out and have a good time together. Like, everybody can now, based off of the time that they had, because I think he might have misunderstood it. I think he might have said, hey, do you guys want to do a season 2? As opposed to, if you could go back and decide not to do it, would you do that?
That's sort of how, I don't know, it was kind of a weird, ambiguous question in the way that people answered it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like, it was either, would you do it again, or will you do it again, sort of question. Like, would you go back, or would you go forward and do the same thing?
It was the way he framed it, because he said, knowing what you know now, would you do it all again? Which made it seem like, would you go back in time and stop yourself from agreeing to it? But Gene, I think he would do it again, because he liked the experience so much that he didn't want to taint it, so that everybody can go out, enjoy some beverages, and have a round of golf.
Golf and beverages. That sounds like the Mean Gene prescription right there.
See,
How much vodka you have?
See, he'll have an Okerlund per hole.
Dead by hole 6.
Seriously, how is he alive? That one kidney is working really hard.
He's got a super kidney, man.
that wife of his. So amazing lady.
He's got like a whole closet full of breathalyzers, because they explode every time he tracks them out. Like,
they melt. I melted another one.
Blows a hole right through him.
So So that is wrapping up season 1, but we want to go in and predict because now there are lots of talks about them filming a season 2. With the biggest rumor of it all is that none other than the immortal Hulk Hogan would be in season 2 if they were to do it
for money.
Yes. So
and
now
it's in Florida.
Yes.
Well, this one
You
was
mean
in
I can
Palm
walk from my
Springs.
house to
The
Legends
rumor
House?
is that they're trying to move it to Florida.
Well, that would make
because
sense.
it's easier. That's where all the production stuff is.
Right.
So let's figuratively say that Hulk Hogan is one of the 8. Obviously, he's going to be the main piece, like Piper was for this season.
I don't know. It depends on how you do it. If you really want to get ratings high for season 2, you book as many high-profile guys as you can.
Right.
Because then it's like super explosive. You know, all these guys are at the top of their game.
He's retired.
But he's not a legend.
But he's retired. Hillbilly Jim's not even in the Hall of Fame. He's just retired.
Punk will never do this show. He would never do this show.
Walking Dead comics. He'll be fine.
Cena is currently wrestling. He will not do the show.
There is not enough.
Daniel Bryan is injured, but he's still under contract.
Maybe.
Again, currently employed.
No,
I guess we're learning all of Phil's powers.
The legends would be flirting with her way too much.
Have to bring Gene back just for a couple of sound bites.
But like couple random thoughts of some guys that maybe we think that could coincide. No way in hell he would do this.
There isn't enough money on the planet Earth.
Unless you make an action show out of it.
Now I'm waiting for him to play Austin's music because maybe Austin.
No, dude, Austin.
That would ruin everything on it, but I want to see it.
But he's not even officially retired.
No, but he should be.
That keeps happening. When's the actual music going to start?
Now.
That's right, it was on 4.
Yeah.
I just thought of a random one, and I would really like to see it. Terry Funk.
Oh, yeah. Ooh. The Funkster.
Or Cactus. Terry Funk and or Mick Foley.
Mick Foley's obviously a shoo-in because he's such a positive
Hogan
influence.
And Foley together?
Oh, sure. Flair and Foley. Now, that is natural tension.
You could... If Flair's there, why not have Arn?
Oh, I was going to say Sting.
Sure. Oh, nope, not retired yet.
I mean, not retired,
officially.
But,
But we can see if Flair and Arn constantly travel together, let's see how they do physically living together.
Yeah. Ricky Steamboat.
Does Arn still drink?
Yep.
Flair.
From what I heard.
We know.
Oh, dude, Flair the fish.
One that kind of crossed my mind, what about Ron Simmons?
Sure. Yes.
Damn. That would be awesome.
You need a black guy. Tony Atlas one season, Ron Simmons the next.
Yeah, that could work.
Maybe, how about someone like DiBiase? Who's now kind of born again?
Oh, he's on the other side of that, boy. Yeah. If you want the bad guys, he's the good guy.
I'm gonna throw out a really random one. How about Tatanka?
I don't hate it.
She retired.
I don't hate it.
He'd be one of those ones with just like everybody remembers him, everybody knows him, but like you don't really know much about him. So there would be kind of that
good point,
interesting thing of like, well, what's he all about?
Or I don't know if it'd have to be in place of Ron Simmons. We were talking about the black guy, Virgil.
I just like had that. That would be awful. It would be worse than Tony Atlas. He is a strange individual. I met the man in person. He put me into a headlock without asking me, and I was just trying to get DiBiase's autograph. It was pretty terrible.
Well, he was protecting his employer.
So the call was at a certain time. He showed up about a half an hour early. DiBiase ended up canceling. So the whole line is like, well, crap, he's here. I guess we'll get his autograph. It was pretty bad. he can't separate the world, it seems. He's a little bit more far gone than Tony Atlas seemed in this.
We mentioned DDP before. What about him?
DDP would actually be pretty
Oh
Could you
my God,
imagine?
that'd be great.
Or
Maybe as a guest to get everybody to do some yoga.
as a guest, maybe Jake or Scott.
Scott, yes.
I think that would be interesting.
Jake's still puttering around. We just saw him.
Yeah, we just saw him the other week.
And you want the guy to just kind of swear and make fun of people like Piper was this season? Nash.
The Grey Goose? Come on.
Grey Goose? I heard Grey Gooch.
No, it was Grey Goose. That was what Monty Brown called him in TNA. It was weird.
How do you remember that?
That was when TNA was good.
That's what it was.
Because the Outsiders showed up and it was like, whoa, I mean, what are they going to do now? It was that same sort of buzz from back in the day.
Yeah.
Any other older, like, WCW
non-wrestlers. What about managers or announcers?
That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's because we had Jimmy, Mean Gene, and Fink.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't think they would put JR there.
No, that would be. He's still working. Like, he's doing boxing now.
Yeah, he just did boxing for the first time. Good for him. I love boxing. Watched a lot of boxing.
I'm trying to think of a manager.
I really can't.
No, like super.
Bano's dead.
That aren't really working right now.
Slick.
Oh yeah, he's alive, isn't he? Yeah,
he's alive and well.
Slick.
That would be pretty amazing, actually. That would be pretty damn interesting.
I know nothing about Slick. That would be great.
And if we're putting Slick in, we got to put Akeem in.
Oh boy.
Or the one-man gang, or however you want to call him.
How is he?
Oh wait, what about Dusty?
Oh, Dusty would be pretty interesting.
Dusty's
If you made like WCW Legends House or Old School Legends House, Dusty, Flair, Arn.
Dusty's pretty busy. He'd have to take a week
what about Michael Hayes?
Oh, Freebird?
To
Yeah, maybe.
like the Pat Patterson place.
There you go.
That would be interesting.
Sure.
There's a lot of places
lot of ways they can go.
You can go Carlos Colon, make it really interesting. International, why not?
Yeah, a guy that nobody can barely understand, and that's nobody's fault.
Sure. Jimmy Valiant. There's a guy.
Jeez.
Yeah.
All right.
Right?
Cowboy Bob Orton. There's a lot of people.
Sure.
Greg Valentine. Let's just keep throwing him out.
Oh, no, we want it interesting.
You know what would be pretty interesting? Paul Orndorff. What's he been up to?
I was thinking that the other day.
How bitter is he?
After that story you and I heard from somebody, oh boy.
Yeah,
We heard a story about Orndorff trying to stab somebody.
Holding him up for money. No, we really can't.
I don't think we can.
Well, that story maybe we'll save for season 2 if Orndorff is in the house.
He's there.
Yeah.
And we love to hear from you guys who you would like to be in the Legends House for season 2. You can leave it on the comment on the YouTube page, or of course you can tweet it to us. Hobo, how can people reach out to you?
I'm on the Twitter at TrueHobo, ProWrestlingTees.com/Hobo, Soapbox, Car TV. I am everywhere. I am like a social media magnate.
I don't know if that's everywhere. You can find me on Twitter at twitter.com/SoapboxMark. You can find us on Facebook at SoapboxCarTV. And you can find me in Anaheim this weekend for VidCon. If you're going to meet all of your favorite YouTubers, why not meet your most hated one? Come on down, and I'll give you a handshake.
Any wrestlers there this year?
I don't know. Probably not.
Really?
There's got to be.
Maybe.
I figure there would be.
Yeah.
Possibly. Let's figure it out together. Find me at VidCon. Hit me up on Twitter.
Tell them that they have to challenge Hobo for his Pixel Pro Wrestling title.
Oh, if he gives me the belt, then I would love to kind of show it around.
Giving it to you, and you're not beating it for me, or beating
TNA
it.
Impact.
And you can follow me on Twitter at CRosieVOC, and of course you can check me out this Friday on SmackDown AfterBuzz. You can check those two out on Thursday for NXT AfterBuzz, and hopefully we'll see you for season 2 of Legends House for the Hobo and Mark Donica. I'm Christian Rosenberg. We'll see you later.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV Network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.